We are the Arcturian Collective. Hello and namaste.
Hello.
You have our unconditional love, and we thank you for your willingness to co-create with us. How would you like to interact with us in this moment? How may we be of service to you?
Question.
Yes.
Okay. Someone else is like, so I've been having these encounters with something I can only describe as golems.
Yes.
They're about
nice.
twice the height of my house.
Yes.
And they're just about golems.
Yes.
They're like, I don't know, just serving around, moving things, helping. I was wondering if you know anything about these entities.
Yes, golems generally, golems are part of the elemental realm, and they usually stand for the archetype of the earth. So in that sense, if you connect to them, golems see, in a sense, they help you connect to the element of earth, if that resonates with you, if that makes sense on some level.
Yes, that sounds like my path right now.
Yes. And we feel in a sense that they, maybe protecting is a bit strong, but that they're looking out for you, that you keep grounded, that they support you with that, that is something that benefits you. They love you very much. It's almost a bit like a fatherly big brother energy that we feel, and that they want to know that they have your back, and that they're that they're ready to help you whenever, and that they have your back when you feel that you need them.
Sweet. I was thinking that, well, I'm everything in one way, but I've been feeling that I was just projecting like an image. I was just creating them in the moment, but I'm feeling more and more that they're just coming around, helping.
Yes.
Yeah, being support.
Golems also know a lot about crystals.
Yes, of course.
And they see that you're very excited about that, and in that sense, if you like, you can have a chat with them about that as well.
Yeah. Well, that question kind of extends to another one where
Yes.
I had this view of being like this enormously, I don't know if I was this golem figure, but it was like the size of the universe and beyond that. And it felt like it was like all the fractals combined into one unit. It's like,
Yes.
not God, but something much bigger than little soul, the little soul that I'm connected to. It was like,
Yes.
oversoul. I know Bashar is speaking about oversouls, but I'm kind of new to that. To expand on.
Yes. In a sense, on the most fundamental level, you are part of all that is. So, there is always that. There is always this level of unity consciousness.
Yeah.
And what often happens if you incarnate, you kind of crystallize, and that, in a sense, you become... You never leave the oneness, because you cannot get outside of all that is. And it can be good to know that you are always all that is. You are always connected to unity consciousness. However, when you incarnate in a human body in a very crystallized and, in a sense, limited form. And we don't mean limited in a bad sense, but more limited in a sense that it allows you to have certain unique experiences that you simply could not have if you wouldn't be that limited. So it's almost like a game. It's like an interesting suit you wear to explore a certain lens and to have experience through that lens. Now, you can work with a kind of hierarchy. So you could say that on one level there is all that is. But then also there is a kind of oversoul for your solar system. And then within that oversoul of the solar system, there is a oversoul that is representative of Mother Earth. And then on Mother Earth, you could say there is an oversoul that represents all humans, one that represents all ants, etc., etc. And then within the human oversoul, you have subdivisions of that as well. It depends a bit what you want to explore. But once you kind of crystallize through these different levels, it can be that often what you are now, you are often a fragment of an oversoul that wants to explore a certain theme, a certain game here on Earth. And that has a certain frequency bandwidth, and a oversoul has all the people of the oversoul have that programming of that oversoul because it's relevant for them. So everybody has that base frequency, and then in addition you have your unique frequencies. But because you share a big part of a frequency bandwidth, because all of you wanted to explore that, or in a sense this one soul fragmented into many pieces to explore it from different perspectives. And that is a bit how we would explain it. And this is why sometimes you meet people and you really resonate with them. And that can be because they are in your own oversoul group. And there is simply that much of the same frequency within you and them that they already feel so familiar, because in a sense you come from the same base frequency. And then of course you all have your unique own frequencies, because otherwise it wouldn't be interesting. Then everybody would be playing the exact same game. But what's interesting is that you all play a unique part within a certain theme. That is how we would explain the concept of oversouls. Is this clear, or would you like to know more?
Yes, that is quite clear. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. Yes.
I'm just wondering what me and the father are very different, and he lives in 50% with me and 50% with his father.
Yes.
What is the best thing I can do for him now? He's turning 11.
Yes.
What should I focus on?
Are there problems at this moment?
No, maybe not.
Then we would say, in a sense, what you best can do, you are familiar with this idea of following your own curiosity, your own interest, your own excitements. So what you can do is explain that to your son.
Yes.
So that he has, in that sense, the same guideline as you. But what's also very important is that you do it yourself. So he actually has a living example of somebody doing it and showing that that can work for them. And in that way, it really is that simple. Sometimes people want to make it more difficult. And we can explain why this works.
But it's for me to actually living my talk and think, and then I can be an example.
Yes.
For him how to actually follow his joy, or what?
Yes, and also your son has his own frequency, he has
Yeah.
his own themes, his own
Yeah.
things to explore.
Yeah.
So in that sense, try to respect his free will and his
Yeah.
freedom to make his own choices, as long as he, within those choices, also respects the free will of the people around him and the freedom to make choices of those people around.
Yeah.
But if you have that as an integrity framework, respect the free will and freedom of others to make their own choices and of yourself, and then that is the moral framework in a sense, and then allowing yourself to follow your curiosity, to follow your excitement, to follow your interests, then you have a line or a direction to go. And why this works is because you all have a base frequency. And you're free, in a sense, you are pre-programmed with a blueprint when you incarnate here. So whatever feels exciting to you, whatever makes you curious, that is actually something that resonates with your own frequency. So it is the, in a sense, the feeling of curiosity, the feeling of interest, the feeling of excitement is actually your higher self guiding you to what it wants to explore. Now, you don't need to do this. You can simply bump against a lot of walls, and also in that way you will learn and you will gain experience. You will experience contrast, you will experience what you don't like, and by that you might experience what you do like. However, once you understand how the system works of following your curiosity, your interest, your excitement, from our point of view, it just makes more sense to go about it that way. Why not take the easy road?
So why do I stop myself so much from being open channel, which I'm very sensitive and I'm really connected if I just decide in the moment, but like,
what do you mean with, would you like to channel yourself?
No, but why do I stay so controlled and not
Could you give an example of when you find it difficult to follow your own curiosity, for example?
like everyday life, family
Yes.
life, or my patterns, which
Yes.
I feel I'm like drowning in boring everyday life. You know, just getting everything to work with clean clothes, children needs food, what everybody needs, and school and kindergarten, and you know, this
Yes.
human life.
Yes.
How-
Samsara, how the Buddhists say.
How can I really get it to be exciting and opening up and integrating that into everyday life?
Well, you could start small. For example, in a way, we don't know what takes most time, but the channel recently read a book called Atomic Habits, and there the author talks a lot about how you can create good habits and can get rid of bad habits.
Yeah.
And by simply putting in more good habits, you can actually automize a lot of these stuff. So, for example, when it comes to food, you can like pre-cook for a week and then serve it that way. So then you can standardize these things, because we do feel that maybe if it's boring, you also get a lot out of it to take care of yourself and to take care for your family. So it is not something that you should push aside. So
I
we
know.
would say more. It might be smarter to, in that sense, see if you can maybe every day take 15 minutes for yourself and say yourself, okay, this 15 minutes, and if you need to, also tell the people you're living with, these 15 minutes are for me, and I'm going to follow my curiosity, my interest in these 15 minutes. And that might be as simple as going on YouTube, watching something you like, go out in nature, meditate, whatever feels exciting, and see if you can integrate more and more of the frequency that excites you into your daily life. And then if that works well, see if you can, in a month, take half an hour and see if you can expand on that. Do you feel that would work?
Yes, that's what I feel now. I started Ikaya Tantra and these things, so when I go out I like fill up and I bring it back to the family, and I meet them like in a total different vibration, and we really meet each other. But then I drown again in like everyday life, and I'm home with my youngest,
Yes.
and it's so boring.
Can you make it more exciting in that sense?
Yeah, that's what I mean. What, like some key? How can I really?
Well, it's really about using your own creativity.
Yeah.
I don't know if your children, for example, have some of the same interests that you do, or have you told them what you are curious about? Because maybe they might share some of those interests, and you can find a creative way of doing it together. Maybe walk in the forest together, and they might be off playing war in the forest, or just be about and play with the trees, and you can simply connect to the area around you.
Yes.
But that really is a bit up to yourself. See how you can do that. And also, sometimes when we say this idea of follow your curiosity, sometimes people make it a very black and white thing. And it needs to be very big, like, oh, all my old life is bad and I need to totally renew my life and only do really exciting things. And that is generally a difficult thing. So that's why we generally propose, try to integrate it slowly. And because every moment you follow your excitement, you raise your frequency. And every minute, or let's say every 15 minutes, that you have next week more, that you spend more in a frequency you enjoy, that will actually glow out in a sense to your surroundings as well. And then you can slowly but surely integrate these new energies. And then if you're open about this, and or if you feel you can be open about this, then you might see that suddenly certain timelines open up that allow you to integrate more and more of what you are excited about.
Yes.
But give it time and be flexible about it. Would you like to know more about this?
No, it's good. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome.
I'm just gonna say, the golems just showed me that they cleanse crystals for me.
So nice.
He swallowed it and put it back in my hand.
Wow.
Cooked it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, cooked it out.
What is your curiosity?
I'm thinking.
I'm curious about how to live my life better. I feel I've been very stuck for a long time, and it shows up in externally. I'm worried about how to manage my like money and material things.
Yes.
A lot of worry and thinking about that. In this, I'm very, I feel stuck. I think I want to do a lot of things, but I never get to do them. I want to be creative and so on. And I haven't been in a regular work situation for many years.
Yes.
So, I want to know about that and what I can do.
Yes. What is the biggest stress when it comes to the money?
The biggest stress is worry. Worry and like...
But what do you worry about? That you will run out of money? That you're
Yes.
not saving enough? That you have to live on the streets?
Yes, sort of. Even I really don't think that would happen, but I worry about that. Yes.
Yes. And do you have a clear oversight of your finances? For example, do you know what you get in every month? Do you know what you spend each month?
Not quite, but
have you considered maybe doing that? Start with some simple bookkeeping? The channel himself has
Yes.
found that really solved a lot of his, especially the fears, because once you have it written on paper, it's very clear to you
yes, okay.
how much you gain or lose every month. And even if you are on the losing side, at least you know how many months before you need to move out.
Yeah.
So that actually gives a lot of, that is something the channel did that helped him a lot. So simply make a clear oversight of your incomes and what you spend. And also what might appear then is that, okay, maybe I'm spending a lot on, for example, the place I live. And maybe I could live a bit cheaper. And then if that is a concession you're willing to do. Because if you would feel more relaxed knowing that in this, maybe it's not as fancy, but at least you don't have the stress of
Yes.
having to pay for it, that can actually relieve quite a lot of tension, and then suddenly that energy can flow to the stuff you're more excited about.
Yes, okay.
And have you read any books on this subject?
No.
That might be interesting as well. The channel can recommend you one or two afterwards if you like.
Yeah.
To give one example, what has happened when the channel was hitchhiking in Australia and doing volunteer work there, he met people, and instead of calculating in money, they calculated in time. So they told the channel, if we want to buy a new couch, then what we do is we look at the price of the new couch and we look at what we earn every hour, and then we can see how much time do we need to spend working to pay for this couch. Let's say a new couch will cost 40 hours a week of work. Then they said, we asked ourselves, are we willing to spend that on it or not? Maybe we can look in a second-hand shop. And the same couch we can find, or a different couch that is not as fancy, but maybe it only costs us 5 hours of work. And then suddenly we have 35 hours we can spend on the stuff that excited us. So we think the book is called Your Money or Your Life, but this we recommend to talk with the channel about this afterwards, so he can give you some practical tips about what has worked for him, and maybe that could be a start for you as well.
Yes, okay.
Are there other things except from the money issue that you are worried about, or are there things that you feel really excited about, but you have a difficult time integrating that in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, like this stuck thing I mentioned.
Is there something you're very interested in or curious about in this moment that you would like to explore more? Could you could you give some examples of where your excitement is?
I think this it's a little bit divided, because I for a long time been interested in music, listening to music. I love music, and
Yes.
but I haven't done that for many years now,
And live music, or is that something you could download or watch on YouTube or watch on streaming? Is it a money thing that prevents you from listening? Is it a time thing? Is it a different thing?
It's a little bit about where I live, actually, because I like to listen for sometimes very loud and enjoy the energy in the music.
Yes.
And
But you don't want to offend the neighbors with your
Yes.
music taste?
Yeah.
Well, that's good, but you can make concessions, like wear good headphones or maybe go out in the forest and take some music with you and let the trees listen in as
That's true, but I can't take the big speakers outside.
No.
Or just blast the neighbors for a while and see what happens.
So I like the music thing, and also I've tried to make some inspirational videos, and I did that for 3 or 4 of them and had them on YouTube for 2 years ago.
How did you like making them?
I loved making them.
Then why did you stop?
That's a good question. It was things I felt very depressed and in periods in different periods in my life. So I haven't had so much energy to do exciting things like.
But do you feel that making videos, for example, is something you would like to pick up again? Is that something you might have? Yeah.
And maybe a question maybe if there's things I haven't discovered yet. If there is some inspiration that I don't know about yet.
There's a universe full of it. Where do you want to start?
If you have some answer, some...
Well, it literally is a universe full of it. There are...
But
it's a big place out there. Let's put it that way. But generally what
resonates for me.
Yeah, but generally that is best to do with your own guidance system.
Yeah.
But also it could be these very practical things. If it is something about, for example, how to feel financial security, then see if you can work that out for yourself. Because a lot of these worldly things, a lot of people are actually being kind of held back by that.
Yeah.
And if you can figure this out and you can make a video about that and help people that way, then suddenly all this space and room opens up for people, and then they can start accelerating themselves as well.
Yeah.
So we would almost say, see where you are yourself, see where your own struggles are, or where your own challenges are in a sense. And by making videos about that, finding information about it, looking at these subjects from various viewpoints and then trying it out a bit and seeing what works for you. Once having found that, sharing that with others can be very beneficial both for you and the people around you. So we would start there, because then you have something very concrete that is both bringing yourself in alignment and you are of service to other people that can be in alignment. And going from there, simply keep on following that excitement, that curiosity, and then we definitely feel that you have multidimensional connections.
Yeah.
So the more you work with this and the more you get these earthly things, in a sense, not out of the way, but get them in order so you don't feel distracted by that, then definitely you can use a lot of more time and less worry to connect to these realities.
Very good. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I feel you very, very deeply on a lot of those aspects. I personally have been feeling that by not doing the things that excite me, I steal energy from myself. And when I face the fear and just do it, I'm excited. I'm energized. You've experienced it as well. Like making those videos, I saw your face light up. You were like,
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you what's stopping me from doing my spiritual work. Is it my fear? Fear about the energy, the strong energies? What's stopping me? I don't know.
How do you mean it's stopping you? What would you like to do that you're not doing?
I would like to do more like I do right now. Being with people, working with energies, get closer contact with my guides.
Yes.
Do more healing.
Yes.
Healing work.
Well, today you learned one permission slip to connect with your own guides.
Yeah.
So you can repeat that. Have you studied how to channel, for example?
I have tried.
Yes. Have you read books? Have you watched the videos?
Yeah,
Have you done the exercises? Yes.
Yes.
And how did that go?
Well, I tried to channel myself once.
Yes.
More than once. But
Yes.
I channeled us for channeling elves, I think.
Yes.
And I started laughing.
That's good.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, but that's great. That's cleaning energies in a sense. It means you're raising frequencies. It means you're releasing.
Yeah.
So laughter is great. Crying is fine also. That's also a...
Years ago.
Yes.
So I felt that energy really strong. And I feel I have had some contact with my guides and maybe been channeling myself or my guides, I don't know.
Yes. And how are you practicing this channeling? Is this just you alone, or are you having somebody asking you questions?
I have tried with some friends also.
Yes. And how did that go?
It's like I get information, but people around me are asking. They want something more.
Like?
I don't know. It's not good. Like it's not good enough.
It's not good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there in your life maybe, mostly when these things come up, it means that your external universe is in a sense reflecting something to you that might require some work? Do you feel that sometimes you yourself think you're not good enough?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know where that came from? If you feel comfortable sharing that here, you don't need to. But because is it okay for people to say to you, okay, it's not good enough, and then you say, you know what, that's okay, but it's really exciting for me and I'm just learning.
Yeah.
So I thank you very much for asking me questions. If you don't want to support me with that anymore, that is okay, then thank you for what you've done, and then maybe you can find other people that can help you with it.
I guess that's why I'm moving on.
Yes.
Keep moving on, because if I can't expand, I'll move on.
Yes.
Find new people.
So in that sense, you're on a good path, and we do feel the laughter can be a connection to the fairy realm. It's very playful, very laughing energy.
I think so.
Yes. And that can really help in the beginning to kind of clear, in a sense, when these things happen, especially when you start to channel, what often happens is that your higher self sees where your issues are. So if they feel that you really need to experience this joy and this kind of playfulness and this laughter, then they will connect you with that, and that will come through. And then maybe next channeling something else might come through. And it can be that also some heavy things come up, simply because these are the things that you kind of need to work through so you can clear up your channel.
Yeah.
And in that sense, we would definitely simply recommend you to keep on going where you are. Are you familiar with the book about opening to channel?
I have only heard about it.
Yes, the channel has a PDF of that, so he can share that with you if you're excited about it. And also, for about a month ago, the channel has organized some channel courses. So if you're interested in that, what has been done there is that people simply do these 7 exercises from the book, and then people ask each other questions.
Oh.
So if that feels exciting to you, that might work. Another thing that generally is really good, and this is for everybody that wants to connect more with their guides, take up a form of creative expression. Whether it is dance, sometimes even sport, art, poetry, arranging flowers, but do something that requires action and that requires your creativity, because that is a very good space for your guides to connect to you, to get you into the flow.
Yeah.
So is there a creative expression that you feel excited about, or maybe you are already doing that you could expand?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes?
I guess I could do more, yeah. I often think I get information in the morning when I sit down and have my morning coffee.
Yes.
I have this clear insights, and sometimes I could read it down then. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can write it down if you like.
Yeah.
Maybe for yourself as a notebook, or if you feel excited, maybe even make short articles for a blog or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
But every form of creative expression, just pick one that feels exciting to you, or pick two. That is very recommendable as well, in addition. Yes.
Yeah.
Would you like to know more about this, or would you like to explore something else?
Not at this moment, I think. Thank you.
I have a question about sigil magic. Are you familiar with sigils?
Like symbols?
Yeah, it's a kind of working with affirmations where you take a word and you take out specific letters and then you form that into a symbol, and you like creatively express the affirmation through a picture.
Okay.
So strengthening the affirmation, so to speak.
Yes. Sounds like a nice permission slip. So if this is something that you're excited about.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a question or what it is. I just draw things and I don't know. I'm just feeling that the things I draw, they hold a vibration. Again, we were talking about this earlier, that I hear more or see more of what's beyond the word. Or feel that I gain more from that.
And drawing is a very nice way to express that.
Yeah. Those words are like just a small part of our conversation.
Absolutely, yes. No, so if you feel that drawing helps for you, or this sigil magic, then do it. Whenever you feel that it aligns you, that you kind of get this inner peace, this kind of warmth inside, you can feel when you're aligning. And if you notice that when you're doing this, you are aligning, then definitely use that. And you can it can be of service to other people as well. This is why sometimes art can really speak to you, because on some level it resonates with you, even though it's sometimes very hard to say why. But again, you don't necessarily need to go through the mental system. If you can communicate through art, it's more of a right brain thing. So then you can, in a sense, communicate directly. It can be quicker and more on a deeper, or in a sense a faster way than words.
Yeah, straight to the heart instead of the rational mind trying to understand what's going on.
Exactly. And then again, it can be good if both are along, both parts, but there's nothing wrong with something just working for one half.
Yeah, so the drawing looking like a bird, but there are symbols and squiggles and things that just encode your brain with...
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, so I feel like in class, instead of taking notes, I draw out the vibration. I don't have a clue what I've written, but...
No, but that's great. That's
Tuning into the
vibrational
space.
art.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tuning into the space, tuning into the whole, like, what the theme of the class, instead of one sentence from a teacher, for example. But then again, as you said, writing down some words are also good thing. So,
Yes, whatever aligns you, do it. And if you feel it really excites you, and if you feel that the drawing works for you, then see where it leads you, and see there's people that make beautiful art that really comes from the heart and that inspires lots of people. Not that you need to, we don't want to put any expectations on it, but if that is something that you feel excited in making just for yourself maybe, but if you feel like sharing it in a later stage, then that might be interesting as well. But only if that feels in alignment as well. If you feel it's something you just want to do for yourself, that's great also.
Thanks.
Can I ask about diets?
Yes.
What do you have any information on what would be a good everyday diet for me? Because you were talking earlier,
Yes.
Previously about making food for a week and prepare.
Yes,
Yes.
meal prepping. we
Like
think.
for me, what will be?
Terminologies.
It has to be easy because I have, children and everything. But actually, what would be best for me to eat?
Well, that is very dependent from individual to individual. Generally, we recommend to eat as much fruits, vegetables, nuts, etc. as you can. So mostly vegetarian. If you do like to add some chicken and fish, that can be recommended. Vegetable juices can be great to drink. Also try to eat with as little poisons as you can. But generally, if you eat whole foods, if you eat mostly organic, largely vegetarian, then that can really help. Again, you need to listen a bit to your own body.
Of course.
For some people, meat is more important than others. But that is what we would generally recommend people. And it's a bit two ways. Like a diet can help you get into alignment simply by clearing out, especially when it comes to certain poisons and heavy foods. It can actually, just like alcohol and smoking, can kind of obstruct things. So if you use any of those, we would definitely recommend trying to get rid of those. But they can kind of block the system, and even caffeine can do that a bit as well. Like any food or any stuff you put into your body that in a sense has a interaction with your neurochemistry, it is good to leave that out of it, because then you get a better sense of your own connection. So by eating in a clean and way that resonates with you, you can actually align more. And it can also happen the other way around. Sometimes when you align more, you suddenly notice that certain foods don't work for you anymore. And then be playful with that as well, and leave out the stuff that you don't like anymore.
But I have such addiction thing with food since I was little.
Yes.
And we are like really a meat family, and it's really difficult for me. I know every time I stop with sugar and caffeine and eat really clean, I get aligned, and I'm like, oh, why do I not do this all the time? But it's so hard for me to be in that.
Yes, but then also don't be too hard on yourself. But also here, sometimes simply training these good habits and trying to get rid of these bad habits.
Training good habits, the book.
Yes,
Yeah.
that might be very practical. And also, yes, so that is generally a way. So what were your experiences when you did eat the way you preferred?
when I'm like quitting all this shit, then it's no, then I'm like really present. And stress goes away.
Yes.
I can see clearly my children. You know,
Yes.
all these good vibrations.
Yes.
I know this, but it's still very difficult for myself.
But that's okay. But once you have the experience, see if you can kind of lean into that and see, in a sense, if you can bathe into that. Because if you can let your being know, your body as well, that how much it likes that, then it might make it easier for you to navigate in that direction again.
Bathe into that.
Yes, see if you can this frequency of alignment, and see if you can take a bath in it. And just let it soak in and be as relaxed as possible, and simply see if you can reach that frequency again when you felt it, because then you're, in a sense, you can entrain your body a bit to go into that way that it prefers on some level as well.
Yeah, then it won't be such a struggle, then it's already vibrating.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yes, you're right. Okay.
Now it's 9:30.
Yes. Are there any last questions? No?
No.
Then it's time to say goodbye. You have our unconditional love, and we thank you for co-creating with us. And we're looking forward to connect with you in the next now. Goodbye and namaste.
Can I ask you one question before
Yes.
you go? Why do you think it's so fun to co-create with us?
For us? In a sense, it is very interesting for us to connect to humans on Earth. Also, it helps the channel align. So it's a win-win-win. We think it's very interesting to connect with humans and to see where they are. And you could almost say it as the following way. In general, we are connected to you, and for us it's much more real that everything is one on some level. So in one way, we are always connected to everything if we choose to. But that is a very general, how do you say it, a very general viewpoint, and in a sense it's very still. While these concrete interactions, it's much more vibrant for us. It's very interesting to get a sneak peek into where people are, what the things are there, what are the things that they are working with in this moment to get into more alignment. And also, you all are a unique part of all that is. So by connecting to you, you in a sense are also a mirror to us. We get to know another part of ourselves in more detail. So in that sense, we learn more about ourselves. And this is not as relevant for us, but this is something that the channel finds very interesting, and what is useful as well. Next to being, all of you create your own individual reality, but your collective also creates a reality. And by understanding that you are connected to the people around you, and on one level you are of the same soul family. If you go high enough, all humans have a common oversoul. So once this becomes real, then once you are in alignment yourself, it only makes sense to want to help other people get into alignment as well. It's almost as if you understand that you are one finger of a hand, and if you can get the other fingers of the hand to be more harmonious and more aligned, everybody benefits. And this is a perspective that channeler himself is very excited about and where his growth in that sense is at this moment. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
yes. Okay. Then goodbye and namaste.
Goodbye, namaste.
That's,
Thank you.
Thank you.